Now, Tony Burke, he has upset a great many people in the Jewish community. The Australian reports the Cabinet Minister has refused to repudiate claims of genocide and apartheid by the Israeli government, condemning the siege on Gaza and backing the flying of the Palestinian flag by council in his electorate. Let's have a listen.
Canterbury-Bankstown Council has voted to raise the Palestinian flag until a ceasefire is declared in Palestine. That's in your electorate. Do you support it?
I support the decision completely.
Michael, he also called for Israel to adhere to international law.
Well, they are. I mean, shame on you, Tony Burke. Shame on you. Someone ought to point out that this flag, the Palestinian flag, is actually the flag of the Palestine Liberation Organisation. This is the PLO flag that the Palestinian people adopted later on. But this is the flag of an organisation which was born in terrorism in the early 1960s, in 1964. That's what the PLO stood for, the destruction of Israel, the killing of Jews from the river to the sea. That was the PLO mantra. They softened later on as Arafat got close to trying to make peace with Ehud Barak. But this is the PLO flag. That's why it shouldn't be flying anywhere. In Melbourne, Flagstaff Gardens, in Sydney, Tony Burke, or anywhere. This is a flag that was founded by a terrorist organisation, and shame on you, Tony Burke. But also I'd say, Rita, you know, there have been some very good people in the Labor Party on Israel, some very good notable exceptions. But you can see from the majority of these people, Burke, Bowen, etc., you can see why I've said to many Jewish friends over the years, the Labor Party are not your friends. They are not your friends. Well, they were under the great Bob Hawke, right? Hawke was magnificent on Israel. But this mob are not your friends. And to any Jewish person thinking of voting for the Labor Party again, do not. They are not your friends.
Well, I think the eyes of many in the Jewish community have been open, not just to elements of Labor, but the Teals and the Greens.
Absolutely.
The Greens have been disgraceful, as have a couple of the Teals.
Disgusting.
Now let's go to the US. Coca-Cola has removed all references to its financial support for Black Lives Matter from its website after the group expressed support for the terrorist group Hamas. It was BLM Chicago who tweeted the photo of a paraglider with the text, "I stand with Palestine." And that was after those militants, those terrorists, not militants, paraglided into an Israeli music festival and slaughtered innocent civilians. Ted Cruz slammed Coke and said a website edit wasn't enough. He's demanded they issue an apology. It's interesting, isn't it? Because for a long time, Black Lives Matter was a corporate darling. All the corporations were lining up to pour money into this neo-Marxist organisation. But I think, again, eyes have been opened to what they're actually about.
The corporations, the big corporations in Australia and the US have fewer friends than they've ever had. And we know what just happened here recently with The Voice. They are friendless amongst ordinary working people, the working middle class. They're friendless amongst small business. There's moralising that they've gone on with, and well, good on Coke, but belatedly to be supporting BLM for all this period of time when BLM were strong supporters of a lot of the violence that took place in some of the cities in America in particular a couple of years ago.
Their supporters were causing it.
Their supporters were causing it. Coke, another woke organisation that should wake up. I mean, basically these corporations should stick to their knitting and stop moralising. By the way, particularly companies that use tax havens, particularly these moralising big corporations that have subsidiaries in Ireland and the British Virgin Islands, lecturing me about the morality of, Black Lives Matter or The Voice, etc. Well, as they say, take the log out of your own eye first, I think.
Michael Kroger, thank you for your time this evening.
Pleasure, Rita.